Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Coach Sherry, and oh my goodness, this is my first time going live and driving or in a vehicle. I didn't put my camera on because I don't have a mount for it, and I just want to, just be on the safe side. So I hope everyone's doing well. It is Friday Eve. Happy Friday Eve to you. Oh, I love calling Thursdays Friday Eves because it is the eve of a very sought after day. Many people, really can't wait till Friday. And I'm like, you know what? People can't wait till Thanksgiving, till Christmas, to so many things. And we call the day before the eve of it. And so I started calling Thursday the Friday Eve. But I hope everyone had a great day. Let's see. I'm trying to get into my comments even as I go. Floyd, I see Elevate with Vern is in the building. Listen, I've been catching you walking on these YouTube streets, and I appreciate all your support. I love you too. I hope you had a wonderful day, a wonderful week. It's been a very long day for me. So many exciting things. I moved into my new office. I'm actually not fully moved. It became ready today, and so I have to pack up my other office to move into my new space, my new office, my new digs. And it is so exciting. It feels like such a fresh new start. Sometimes, you have to do that, especially when you are creative. Periodically, you have to change the scenery a little bit, to keep those creative juices flowing and to have a new brand to, get a new beginning. And people are always so amazed at how quick I can move. When I have a new location, I'm like there, I'm done. I'm packed up, ready, gone there in like a day. And people are always so surprised because in any space that I have, I always make it feel like I've been there forever. I bring in my crystal vases. I have Mikasa vases in my office. I have beautiful crystal candy jars and just really make it like home. My eucalyptus and just a lot of things, artwork and such. And I know some people, just when they have an office outside of the home, they just bring the basics. They're like, I just want to be able to pick up and leave when I can. And I just was like, no, I can pick up when I can if I have to, because I know how I did it, how I rolled with during COVID. But I love having my beautiful things around me and making it very comfortable, cozy, inviting, and creative, a place where you feel comfortable coming up with fresh new ideas and such. And so, even though my office, I had a lot of things in it, I was able to still. It's probably going to take about 3 trips, maybe, for it to be fully. The biggest thing is the technology piece, but even that's not going to be a problem. So I see you, Vern, have a speaking engagement tomorrow, um, with Sherm. All right. Are you going to the conference in Chicago also? Because next, I think it's in 2 weeks, the conference, the big national conference for Sherm is in a couple of weeks. That's good. I'm glad that you are getting out there. I did a presentation. I was on 2 panels last week for a Workforce Development Summit. It was the first in Charlotte, and it was well attended. 300 people were there. They were only expecting or planning to have about 200 people, but they had 300. They were prepared, they had to register and pay and everything. So it all worked out, but it was well received. And I know that your presentation tomorrow is going to be phenomenal. I know quite a few people that are going to the SHRM National Conference in Chicago. I've never been, but I know these group of administrators, and they are so much fun. And even though I'm not part of SHRM, because I'm part of workforce development associations and career coaching associations, and even though they say like workforce development has its foot in HR, I'm like, I don't need another association, but I'm very familiar. But these women, when they go to the conferences, they have a ball. They went to Vegas, I think, was it last year or the year before when Janet was there? And they just have a good time. I remember when they went to New Orleans, and they really look forward to it. So yeah, yeah. I'm hoping to be moved all the way completely into my new office by no later than next Tuesday. I do have two other people from my team that are going to be moving too, and it's going to be really nice. Our team is growing. My team is growing in, and it's just making us be able to do so much more work. So that is good. It's it's my career. It's my career. Yes, and I have a home office as well. My home office is very cozy and comfy, but my outside of my home office is just as comfortable as my home office. It just doesn't have my bedroom nearby or in the same building. That's the only difference. And I actually prefer working outside of the home in terms of, when I do my work, because I feel much more accomplished, I want to say. I also move a lot more when I'm not working in my home, because when I'm working from home, I don't get up very much. I stay seated for long periods of time, and it makes my body atrophy. I get stiff, and just I know during COVID, even though I worked exclusively from home for many, 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 many years, for some reason, working exclusively from home during COVID, it made my body just, I don't know, it just did some crazy things. I'm like, what is going on? So I definitely do prefer getting up and getting out in the morning, and doing what I do, having all of my, documents and things that I'm going to be working on, projects. I like having them in another location where I can just keep it all pinned up and everything. And also not mixing businesses that I have with, my husband and my family, not combining it with work that I do outside of what we do. So this way it keeps things separate too. And I find that to be very helpful for me. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the view I have of uptown Charlotte is phenomenal. Listen, I have a little window seat, and I was sitting down on it, and I was just staring out like, this right here is going to inspire me. Now, I love my office that I'm leaving. I absolutely love it. I love the shape. It's so different. And even when I'm in it and I'm doing video calls, people think I'm home. They're like, "Is that your home office?" And I'm like, "No, this is my outside office," because it is so wonderful. I have very dim lighting. I use it's called, what's it called? The lighting that I use, it's a different type of light bulb, and they're very interesting. They are called, oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't remember the name of the light bulbs, but they're very unique. One is an octagon, and one is a beautiful big circle. And my lamps that I have, they look like lamps you would find in an old manufacturing warehouse, and I bought them like that on purpose. And the lighting is like a yellow light, and I call them my think tank lights, because if I look into them, I get great ideas, my big idea lights for sure. So yeah, it's some good stuff I'm looking forward to this year. Just a lot of things on the horizon, things that I'm just going to hold close to my chest for a little bit until time gets closer. But, God's will be done. And I'm just so grateful and thankful for all the doors that He's been opening for me. I've been telling people, when you pray, you don't have to pray the same prayer over and over again, because God heard you the first time. It's like I equate it to when you go to a restaurant, and if you go to a really nice high-end restaurant where your food is not already ready, they have to prepare it, and they're making it according to your taste, to your liking. It's going to take a little while for them to prepare it. So in the meantime, you may have an appetizer, you may have a cocktail or something to drink, great conversation if you are with good company, and you don't tell the waitress or the waiter what your order is again, because you told them once. And as you wait, you are taking in the ambiance of the restaurant. There may be some music that you're listening to. You might smell the foods that are coming by that other patrons have ordered, you're just taking it all in. And then lo and behold, you are just almost at that brink of saying something because you're really hungry and you're just getting frustrated a little bit. Here comes your food. And when you get it, it's cooked perfectly, just like you ordered it. It's everything that you imagine it would be, and even more. And that's when you are so pleased, overjoyed, and satisfied. And that's how it is when you ask God for a blessing. When you ask Him for favor, when you pray about it, you leave it there. You write it down, you make it plain, and you leave it there. And you go on and continue to take action in other areas of your life, because He is preparing your meal. He is preparing your favor. But in the meantime, He wants you to enjoy the fruits that are there, that you can see, that you can smell, that you can taste, be it your appetizer, be it the cocktail or the drink that you're drinking, even if it's water with lemon. He wants you to enjoy the sounds of the conversations that you're having with the other people that are with you, the sounds of the music that might be playing in the background. He wants you to pay attention to all of those things while He is preparing your favor. And so many people get so angry and bent out of shape. It's like, but you wanted your filet mignon cooked a certain way. It's going to take a minute. But you wanted that twice baked potato. You wanted your asparagus. You wanted them grilled just so. And that takes time. But you're yelling. You're trying to rush the chef. The chef is back there cooking, and that's how it is with God. He's back there, and you're trying to rush God, and you can't do that because He's preparing it the way He knows you need to have it. And you need to trust the process, because it is going to be. And it may come when you least expect it. Sometimes it might come sooner than you expected. Sometimes it may come later than you expected, but it'll come. And listen, I've been doing that for so long, like years. I've been praying about it, writing it down, making it plain, and leaving it in God's hands. And I've left it like that so often, until sometimes when my favor arrives, when my blessing comes, when my meal is set before me, I almost forget what I ordered. And then it's like, oh my goodness, this is what I ordered. This is exactly what I ordered. Like, I forgot about that. And that's the exciting piece when it does show up. And y'all, let me tell you, I've never been disappointed. God could never disappoint. All right. If you believe, He will have that breakthrough for you. You just have to have stick to itness and trust the process. And so that's what I've been experiencing even more and more. It's like the favor that's happening to me now, people around me that I may have mentioned it, like, you know what? I want this is something that I would love to happen. And as it's happening, they'll be like, Sherry, this is what you prayed for, or this is what you asked for, this is what you said. And I'm like, it is? I said this? When? Because I forget, I move on to the next. I don't sit there and dwell and look in the kitchen every time the door opens. I don't, look at everybody's food and look at them enjoying their food. No, I'm enjoying the ambiance. I'm listening to the music that's playing, to the conversations that are being had. I'm smelling the food, yes, and I'm saying, wow, I can't wait till I get mine. I'm savoring the cocktails. I'm drinking that water with lemon and lime, and I'm not even getting mad at the other people who got their food before me, because maybe they were there before me. Maybe their food didn't take as long to prepare, or maybe they called ahead and their food was already, on its way. Maybe they had reservations. Who knows? But that's not my business. I just worry about my food that's being prepared and me being ready for it, not being too full. Don't eat all that bread. Don't fall for the okey doke while you're waiting for God's favor, for God's blessing. Definitely stay put, stay on the right course. Don't just eat anything because someone's like, I got this. You can eat this, it'll fill you up. Yeah, it might fill you up, but for the moment, you want to be filled for a lifetime. And the food that God is preparing for you, the favor that He's preparing for you, will fill you for a lifetime, because you will get skills, you will get knowledge, you will have that experience that no one could ever take from you, because that's your assignment. That was for you, and God will give it to you. And when you receive it, it's yours. It's yours. That's your food. That's your plate. That is yours. That's why, listen, when I order food, and this is real talk, when I'm out and about, and if I'm out with a group of people, unless we're saying we're gonna share, like appetizers typically or something like that, oh, I'm eating my food because I ordered what I wanted, and that was my order specifically. I can tell you whether or not to order it too next time, but you can't eat off my plate because it's my plate. You can't have my favor that God has bestowed upon me because it's my favor, and that's how it is, y'all. So, you can't take everybody with you, and you own what you know. You own who you are. You own your assignment. And there's many assignments that you have had, and will have that many people won't want. But you can't pick and choose the assignments that God gives you. They all are for a purpose of greater good in actuality, no matter how challenging they may be, no matter how sad they may make you while you're in it. It is still for the greater good. It's your testimony. You don't know where he's taking you, what he wants you to minister to someone else. You going through what you have in front of you is to help the next person behind you. So many people give up and they don't realize people have gone through even more challenging times. And if maybe you heard their story, you would recognize that, you know what? This is not so bad. The kitchen didn't burn down while they were preparing my food. The chef didn't quit before he finished preparing my food. Even though I had to wait a long time, I still got my food. So even though you may have to wait a long time, you're going to still get your blessing. You're still going to get your favor, and that's just it. That's all there is to it. So be patient, trust the process, and your favor will come. But a lot of people, they kind of go back and forth with their requests. They will tell the waitress one thing, and then the waitress comes back out and they're always changing their order. Do you know people that are always changing their order? Oh, wait, you know what, I think I want to try this. Or they get their order and they don't like it and they want to send it back. Oh, this is not quite what I thought it would be. Well, that's why you have to be specific. You have to know what it is that you want to order. You have to know, what do you have a taste for? What do you feel encouraged to do? What's inspiring you? What's your intuition saying? And make that known. Even if it's the most, outlandish thing. If it came to you, then so be it. Some things that I say that I want to do, people at this point, people know, if Sherry's going to say it and put it in out there in the universe for God to hear, oh, 9 times out of 10 it's going to happen. And so, but back in the day, people would look at me like I was crazy, like I lived in Disneyland or something. And I'm like, you know what, dare to dream and dare to believe. And when I say dare to believe, it's not in the people, it's believing in God. And when you know you are God's child and that he takes care of his kids, what? And listen, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you're not asking specifically what you want, then you're not going to get specifically what you know you need. So don't shortchange yourself. Whatever you think you're worth, put it out there. Write that number down and say, this is what and I've seen it happen. It happened for me, and I've seen it happen. I've seen when, my husband would look at other players and see how much money they would make. That would not make him mad. That would not make him jealous. It would inspire him, because he would look at it like, you know what? If they can make that, then I know there's money out there for me too. And he would write down what he thought his worth would be, looking at what other people in his same position was making, and he would write that down, and he always got that number. I know me being in meetings, this was like years ago. You go in, and especially if you're a consultant, you don't really know necessarily what everyone's making or whatever. But I remember being at meetings and hearing how incompetent so many people were, and I was like, wait, they have position of influence. How much they make, and I'm just wondering, like, they can't make that much. And when I would see the six figure numbers and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, there's money out here. I'm getting that. And lo and behold, so you got to also know what's going on at the table. What's everybody else ordering, And do you deserve that? If you deserve that, then order that too. Heck. There's room at the table for everyone. There's enough food at the table for everyone too. But don't shortchange yourself. So many people, and especially if you're credentialed, and then you have experience, don't shortchange yourself. People are making real money out here, and why not you? But if you don't ask, then who's to say you're going to receive it? Some people luck out and they just stumble upon and right place, right time. But you don't have to live your life right place, right time. You absolutely do not. You can really be expectant and prepare and know that your time is coming. Yeah, there'll be some people that'll surpass you, before your time comes, but your time is coming. And if they surpass you, your time is coming. I'm good. Good. Congratulations to you. But I'll be right there with you. Just a second. Hold on. I'll be right there. So definitely, y'all, I don't even know where this is coming from. I'm just here to say happy happy Friday Eve. But I just feel so filled right now because when I see God's work, and I see it every day, trust when I say I see it every day, I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed. And it's not even about, oh, there's so much I would love to share, but I'll share it as it comes. Listen, I'm not going anywhere. This is my Sweet 16 month. I'll be 16 years old here on YouTube on June 30th. And if you didn't know, now you know. This is my going live every day challenge for 90 days. And my 90th day falls on my Sweet 16. And what day is this? Day 74 of going live every day. I'm trying to make it work. I'm just so sleepy today. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to be creative and go live in a different way. I've never gone live while driving, and definitely not faceless in driving, but I had to do it this way so that when I get home, I can, wind it all the way down. I have so much to share with my family and want to, share it with them and be in a comfy place to do so. So I'm just excited, y'all. And I hope that, my excitement and the things that you'll start to see unravel, and when I say unravel, that's not a bad thing. It's just, unraveling. It's like a onion. You peel it back, it's unraveling. Peel an orange, it's unraveling. And you get into the core, you get into the good part. And, I hope it encourages you and inspires you to know that if it can happen for me, it can happen for you. But it doesn't just happen without any work. You have to put in that work every day. Nothing's free. You have to put in that work. Take action every single day. Know your worth and do your best. Do your best and protect your brand in the meantime. Have integrity as you go through it. Have integrity so that when people see you coming, they're not like, oh, here they come. What they gonna sell me now? What they got to say? Oh, yeah, but they still in the same place. So they just going around in a circle and just trying to tell me. No, keep moving, keep elevating, keep growing and getting stronger every day. And just know that your time is coming. Your time has always came. It's just you have many times. It's not one and done. So many people think that they've arrived. Arrived where? Because you have another level to go to. Your time does not end until the end of life with your end date. So we're in this dash. While you in this dash, you need to take action and keep it moving for sure. Yes, definitely go get it. Like Elevate with Vern said, go get it. And it's not always easy. If you have never seen it, it's not always that easy, and I get that. But you know what? We have enough examples in our community. We have enough examples in our ancestors to look back and see. And when I say our ancestors, I don't necessarily mean in our lineage. I'm talking about Madam C.J. Walker ancestors. She's my ancestor, not by blood or anything, but I look to her as a role model. When you look at, people that have overcome in spite of, and when you see how they did it, then that's the blueprint. Read their stories. They have biographies, they have autobiographies of how they did it. Read how they, what was the blueprint. The words in a book is the blueprint, but you have to read it. If you're not reading it, then you're not going to get it. So read it, understand it, apply it to your life, be encouraged by it, and see, oh, they said that they used to go to these organizations and rub elbows with the right people. Let me tell y'all, if you're not part of associations, if you're not part of the bigger picture in your city where the true players are at, you're gonna miss out. There's a lot of money out there, and you're going to miss out. You want to be able to be in the place to be, get those invitations, show up, buy those tickets to attend events that you know the people's people are gonna be. You may or may not meet them, but you'll hear the information. Knowledge is power, all right? And you'll hear the information, you know what's coming down the pipe, and you know how you can adjust yourself, your business, whatever, so that you can too take advantage of what's being offered. But if you're just talking about it and not being about it, you're not going to be in position. And that's what this is all about, being in position to receive what is coming down the pipeline. There's so much coming down. I was talking to someone today about sustainability, and she got a new office too. Her office is down the hall from me. And she was like, yeah, I can see my work. And right outside the window was all of the solar panels that's on this particular building. And she was like, that's my work. And I was like, wow, she doesn't put them up there. She doesn't have that company, but she encourages businesses to, do things sustainable. And that's the thing. What's coming up in the next 10 to 15 years that you know about, that you can pivot and take advantage of, that you can pivot and have a solution for, that you can pivot and get skilled up to do? What is it? Do you know? If not, then you need to do some research. You need to meet some different people. You need to read some different books. You need to read some different news or publications to know what's coming up in the next 10 to 15 years, because I'm trying to tell you, after 2030, it's going to be on and popping. And if you're not preparing now for that time, you're going to be left behind. And so many people turn their noses up to all the new things that's coming out. You better embrace it. And Slasher Chick, I know she's probably out and about, because me and her seems like we're on the same type of schedule. But if you're not checking out her lives where she's talking about AI stuff, then you are missing out, because she has some very valuable information and tips. And she does, demonstrations on how to use it. I know someone in South Africa and came over, and he talked about AI and how it's going to impact the workplace. And I know, listen, my mentor lives in San Francisco, California, and she was doing writing white pages on AI before COVID. She was talking about how it's going to in, impact not just business but operations in companies. And it's not about losing a job; it's about gaining new things, new jobs. So if you lose your job because of technology, what are you doing to skill up to gain another job in technology? That's the thing. So you need to start looking around, connect with a career coach, take a career interest assessment to see what your skills, experiences, and education aligns you with in terms of other occupations that are going to be emerging in the future. And whatever education that you need to acquire, whatever credentials you need to acquire those right now, today. And so that when that time comes, you will be an attractive candidate for those new opportunities. If you're saying, well, my company's not doing that yet, I don't know, they be slow at the trigger with things. Well, guess what? If you're skilled up, if you're educated to do those new things that are coming, when your company wakes up and says, you know what, in order to stay relevant, we're going to have to make some changes. We're going to have to implement green infrastructure. We're going to have to implement something sustainable because we can get a tax break as a business. We're going to have to do more things with AI. We're going to have to go into robotics. When they start talking like that, because you started training yourself right now, you can raise your hand and be like, oh, I know how to do that. And that's how it works. It works just like that. Just like that. But people that are disgruntled and dragging their feet, talking about woe is me and I only got 5 more years to work anyway. Listen, the way things are going, if you don't have a few businesses, you might still have to work after 5 years, because the cost of living is increasing. And when you tell me that you've seen the cost of living decrease, okay, so you might need to stay a few more years. All right, they're already talking about changing the age for Social Security, and is Social Security going to be there? Listen, next year, the class of 2025 high school students is going to be the last largest high school graduating seniors. Do you know what that means? That means that they're going to continuously, after next year, be less and less people coming into the workforce. However, there's still a ton of people going out of the workforce expecting Social Security, which is a joke, to take care of them. So you are going to have to make some additional changes, get some passive and residual income so that it can supplement your life, the way that you live it, and be able to, keep up with the times and the cost of living, because students are not, people are having less babies. If I asked you right now, how many of your parents had more than 5 siblings? I bet you everyone in this chat would raise their hand. Everyone listening to the replay would raise their hand. How many of you have parents that had more than 5 siblings? And if I ask you, if you are between the ages of 30 and 60, how many of you have siblings, have more than 5 siblings? How many of you between the age of 30 and 60, that's 30 years, how many of you have more than 5 siblings? I bet you only a handful would raise their hand. If I ask someone between the age of 10 and 25, how many of you have more than 2 siblings? One sibling, especially one sibling, many would raise their hand. People are having less babies. People are having less to none, no babies. So that's our workforce. And so we're top heavy right now. And we're going to continue to get top heavy. So we have to learn to be creative and be self sufficient. And the time to worry and not worry, but the time to prepare for that is now, not when you need it. So many people play catch up. They're reactive and not proactive. When you hear something that's going to help you be proactive, you need to take action. You don't want to, think about it and be analysis paralysis with it. And then when you need it, you be like, Dad, Coach Sherry was talking about that. I remember. That's like my kids, my young adults. When I tell them something, just having a conversation basically about whatever life, things, situations. And, I might give them a bit of advice. And I know 9 times out of 10, the advice now is a lot different. They see it. But especially when they were a little bit younger. And if I gave them a bit of advice and they would be like, oh, okay, mom, okay, dad. And I would always say, I'm only telling you this so that when you hear it again, it could be next week, next year, 10 years from now. But when you hear it again, you will know I told you first. You will know your dad told you first. You would know that we told you first. And that's how I feel about it, like this type of information that I'm sharing with you. Some of you may think it's over exaggerating or whatever. I'm not trying to have no fear factor. I'm just, helping you be able to take some action. But some people might say later on, wow, I remember Coach Sherry saying that. So, especially if you have young people in your life, definitely encourage them to have multiple streams of income. When people come to me for career coaching, especially if they have a career, like a job, I will always tell them I'm a proponent for multiple streams of income. So you definitely want to look into something that can help you be an entrepreneur as well. And this is kind of how you can do it. Because if you have multiple streams of income coming in, trust me, you'll have less stress in your life, because when one won't, the other will. And but if you have one that won't and nothing else that will, that's stressful for people. So you definitely want to have multiple things coming in. And, so if you have young people in your life, because a lot of young people are just trying to be social media famous. That's what they want. It's crazy to me. Like, are you crazy? Like, you have to have more more things on your plate, because some things are not going to hit for everyone. The way that social media is right now is, it's like how sports used to be. When young people, everyone wanted to play in the NFL, everyone wanted to play in the NBA. Oh, you talk to a eighth grader, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I'm gonna play basketball. Are you on your basketball team? Nah. You're not on your school's basketball team. You're not in AAU, and you want to play in the NBA. I'm trying to understand. So the reality of it has to hit. Let me tell you, I know for the NBA, 1%, no, for football, and football has the most amount of people on the team. 1% of all college students that go into the NFL, it's only 1%. And think about all the colleges that have football teams across the country. Only 1% of them make it into the NFL, and only 1% of them make it past 1 year. 1% of them make it to get, um, benefits, to become pension and invested in that way. That's a very small percentage. So even if you want to be a professional athlete, congratulations. I'm glad. But it's not even about having a plan B, it's having another stream. Stop calling it plan B. Call it another layer, another leg to your professional self. What else? You doing that, and what else? Everything has to be and then what else? What else are you doing? My daughter is a realtor, but she's also does marketing for other realtors, and in other offices. She does their marketing pieces. That's another stream. Pretty soon she's going to be teaching, and I told her that because of your degree, girl, and the things that she's already teaching her team the new technology that they have. My son teaches, but he's also a therapist. So you always have to have, and what else? And that's going to be very important moving forward for everyone. You can't just be one and done with it. I don't care how much that one is paying you. I don't know too many athletes that all they do is play sports. And if they do, shame on them. They need to have some real estate. They need to have some type of business that's going to make it for them. It's going to be very important, because that's a young man's sport, young woman's sport, and you gotta make sure that money's going to last you forever. But in the meantime, you want it to continue to grow for you as well. Ooh, y'all, it is Friday Eve, and I'm out here. I'm getting ready to call it a night. I appreciate you all for being here. Elevate with Vern is in the building. You was rocking with me. I love you so much, sis. Thank you. And for those of you that were listening in the background, and just, you might be riding along too, listening, I appreciate you for tuning in. For those of you that listen to this in the replay, leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts were. What is your nugget, your takeaway from this conversation? I appreciate you all. This is day 74 in the books, and this is not only my live, but it's my Real Talk with Coach Sherry's podcast. So that's all I have for you, and it's been my pleasure sharing it. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. I am Coach Sherry.